goes through his normal day and goes to bed with his tiny little dog and wakes up in the middle of this clearing in the forest. And welcome back once again to a new bookish video. Now, I don't have the actual physical copy of this book because it was an audiobook, so I'm going to put the picture somewhere in the corner on either side. So this audiobook is called Even Dogs Get to Go to Other Worlds, and it focuses on our young Japanese protagonist, give me a minute for the name, Takumi, and his little tiny Maltese named Leo. Now, one day he goes through his normal day and goes to bed with his tiny little dog and wakes up in the middle of this clearing in the forest, and he's all confused, and all of a sudden he sees this huge dog just coming at him, and he's freaking out. And before we get in any farther, there will be spoilers for this, so if you want, I'm going to link the link to the audiobook down below in the description if you'd like to listen to the audiobook yourself before you listen to this review, because there will contain spoilers. So if you'd like to listen to the audiobook, it is narrated by an AI, and it doesn't really know the difference between when you're like stuttering, like, well, what it'll say why, like yes or W, Y, or whatever. It doesn't know the difference between when the characters are stuttering and when the characters are just saying the words. So that got a little weird, but I would listen to this while I was doing stuff, whether that be cleaning outside with my cat or just checking my games or whatnot. I would listen to it while I was doing something, so the computer generated voice didn't get so annoying, but keep in mind that it is an AI reading it to you, so the text-to-speech can be a little grating if you're not doing something other than listening to it, or at least don't have music in the background. So, assuming people that don't want spoilers are gone and they're listening to the audiobook now or doing something else, let's continue, shall we? So as I said, Takumi finds himself waking up in the middle of this fantasy world kind of clearing, and this huge dog is with him, and he's freaking out because this dog is like twice the size any normal dog should be. Like, it's the size of a horse, maybe bigger. So he's like, oh, I'm gonna die. But it turns out that it's his faithful little companion, Leo, going from tiny Maltese to what is known as a giant silver Fenrir, which basically, if you can see from the cover, somewhere, wherever I put the cover, it's a giant wolf that looks silver in its fur. And they end up waking up in a place that is known as the Fenrir Forest. However, they do not see any other Fenrir around, let alone silver Fenrir. And apparently the difference between silver Fenrir and Fenrir are that not only are silver Fenrirs bigger, but they're kind of like rule over normal Fenrirs. So he got the cream of the crop when his dog transformed into this giant wolf. So he's trying to figure out what is going on, how he got here, if it's even real and he's not just dreaming. And then he ends up helping this girl by the name of Claire get away from an orc attack. So he's starting to think, well, maybe this isn't a dream, maybe I was meant to come here somehow, I came here through like some portal or some dimensional shift or whatever, but me and Leo are here now. I'm gonna have to make the best of it until I figure out a way to get home. And Claire, being grateful for the fact that him and his Silver Fenrir Leo had helped her, and not only had they helped her, but she is very intrigued by Leo because Silver Fenrir are very, very, very rare and very, very powerful in this land that they have found themselves in. So Claire offers to let them stay with her and her sister and her maids and her butler. So they all become like this little family, and they very much dote on Leo as like she's a queen or a princess, because Silver Fenrir are very highly revered in her family and in her land, because they are strong and they are powerful and they do have this actual power with being able to control like fire and water and pretty much every element. So everyone in the household is very taken in by Leo and treats Leo and Tasumi like they are heroes in the land. And they start to talk to him about the legends of the Fenrir and how they haven't been able to find any, and how maybe if Leo changed from this tiny little dog to this big wolf, that he changed as well, and that everyone has a gift of some kind, and they were trying to figure out what his gift was and what he could bring to the table. And it just basically becomes the two of them integrating themselves into this family and finding out that the family he found himself in was a duke's daughter, so she's a duchess, which means everyone in the land seems to know her and treats her as a princess. So their mission then becomes finding out what Tahashi's gift is and what happened to the other Fenrir. So they work together to figure it out. And we basically end the book with this quest to continue finding more Fenrir and bringing the race back into existence, while Tasumi tries to figure out his place in this new world, and also wondering if they're ever going to get home again. So it was kind of this little, like, I wouldn't say it was a very exciting story, it was just kind of a relaxing, like kind of oddly slice of life mixed with fantasy element to it. And I thought it was a sweet story. Like, it wasn't the most exciting, but I enjoyed it, and it gave me something other than music to listen to while I was doing some stuff, because sometimes I don't want to listen to music. Like, don't get me wrong, I love music, but sometimes it just fades into the background too much to the point where I'm not even listening to it, when a story keeps me engaged and keeps me working on the task at hand, surprisingly. So I enjoyed Even Dogs Get to Go to Other Worlds, and if you have never heard of this story before and my video helped you hear of this story and you ended up watching or listening to the audiobook, let me know, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Hope to see you next time.